Hi friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. So we'll start our discussion on a new concept, which is the Gridle of Venus. And before I'll start, explaining to people all the nuances of this topic, habit which I'm going to follow henceforth in all my videos is that as our syllabus has reached the last part, now just to ensure that you haven't forgotten the fundamental principles which we discussed, at the beginning of our discussion and of our syllabus, because if you are not clear with the fundamentals, you are not able to do the analysis correctly, because when it comes to palmistry, one sign never tells the whole picture. We have to do the analysis comprehensively. So one such fundamental principle which we discussed at the beginning of the course was determining the type of the hand, because that is very important. That comes in the category of the chirognomy, which is the structure of the hand, which tells a lot about someone's inherent potential, personality traits. And the vertical of the chirognomy is determining the shape of the hand. So the hand gets classified on the basis of 4 elements. So the 4 elements are, one is earth, another is air, another is fire, and then last is water. So what happens is, if you have classified the hand accurately on the basis of these elements, then you will also find somehow these kind of personality traits which are represented by these elements in the personality of an individual. So the earth element person would remain to be hardworking, reliable, stable. The air element person would remain to be intellectual. All those journalists, writers can be seen from an air shape of hand. The fire element represents all those people who are go-getter, intense, leadership traits get seen from the fire element, and the water element represents intuitiveness, emotions. So what is going to happen is that the hand gets classified on 2 criteria. One is we check the condition of the length of the fingers and the shape of the palm. So for the eligibility for a hand to be of earth shape is that the hand should be the shape of the palm should be square in shape. So when you'll find this broadness of the palm and the length of the palm to be square in shape, and along with that the fingers to be short in length, then you can say that the hand of this person is earth shape. And when I say the length of the fingers, they get determined on the basis of checking the length of the middle finger with the broadness of the palm. So the broadness of the palm, if the broadness of the palm is less compared to the length of the middle finger is let's say 5 centimeter and the broadness of the palm is 3 centimeter, then we'll say the fingers are long in this palm. Same goes with the shape. If this broadness, that is shape of the palm, is very easy to determine whether it is square or rectangular, the only problem person face in determining the length of the fingers. So the eligibility for the earth shape hand is that the palm would remain to be square in shape and the length of the fingers would remain to be shorter in length. Then with the air shape of the hand, the palm shape would remain to be square and the length of the fingers would remain to be longer. The air shape of the hand, the shape of the palm would remain to be rectangular and the length of the fingers would remain to be short. And lastly, in the case of the water element, the palm shape would remain to be rectangular and the fingers would remain to be longer. So it's a very important concept. I made a video on this. You can just go through my page and you'll find this video explained comprehensively on the classification of the shape of the hands. Now coming to this topic in this concerned topic which we are going to discuss today about the Gridle of Venus. Gridle of Venus, same, this line also comes in the category of the minor lines. Major lines are these three lines: heart line, head line, and the lifeline. Your feelings, your thinking, your logics, and your stamina, your vitality. The secondary lines are, so these 3 are the major lines or primary lines. Secondary lines are these 3 lines: the line of Saturn, your wealth gets seen from here, your stability in life seen from here; Sun line, your art and creativity, your capacity to attract name and fame gets seen from this line; and your business capabilities and potential is seen from this Mercury line, your health and business. So primary lines, secondary lines, then comes the minor lines, which are very rare lines, which are rarely found in people's hand, and if found, they add depth to the personality of someone. As a hand analyst, you have to give proper emphasis onto these minor lines. And these minor lines are very rare to found, and if it's better they are not present rather than being afflicted. Now coming to this minor line, which is of paramount importance, I personally give it a lot of significance. And why I give it so much of significance to this line, you will just get to know after the completion of the discussion. So the Gridle of Venus, the first point is about the formation of this line on the palm. So this line is formed over here. This line is formed in a semicircle form, encircling the something like this. encircling the middle and the ring finger. So in my palm, as you can see, you'll find a Gridle of Venus something like in this formation. Now there is no hard and fast rule. You might find it going from one end to another end, and you might also find it in double or triple ring kind of formation. So this is the about the formation of the Gridle of Venus on the palm. Now comes the part where we have to discuss the signification of the line. So what does this line represent? This line tells about the heightened sensitivity. This line tells about the heightened, senses, feelings, emotions in someone's part. The problem with the old palmist was that they did not apply proper logic to it. Just by a mere look of this line, they straight away assigned this line as the line of the sexuality, line of the autoerotic tendencies. Rather, the science of palmistry, the way of doing analysis of palmistry is that you have to attach the line to the type of the person. So one thing which gets clear by looking at this line is that the person is sensitive. There is too much of the pent up nervous energy stored in this person's constitution. Now that remains to be dependent on the type of the person, whether these stored nervous energies are getting released in the form of sexual acts, in the form of becoming a creative, an artist, or releasing in the form of becoming a drug addict, or releasing in the form of becoming a devotee, and very devoted devotee or worshipper of the god. So there remains to be different types. So the problem is, and the solution of doing analysis of palmistry is that you have to first understand the type of the person, and then you have to apply the line to that type, rather than applying the type to that person. That just by looking at this line, you straight away come to this conclusion that this person is going to be very sexual. So that is the only reason why I said this thing, that this line. And like the way when we were discussing the Ring of Solomon has got two aspects of it. One aspect is psychology, and second aspect of Ring of Solomon is spirituality. So psychology, if is dominant, person might become a good occultist, good astrologer, good palmist, a good psychiatrist. If the spirituality is dominant, then the person might become, very religious, very righteous, very humanitarian. In any case, the Ring of Solomon represents wisdom. Same is the case with the Gridle of Venus. It has got two aspects of it. One is the sensitivity, that if this, with which we are going to discuss very soon, that if those signs are paramount, the signs of sensitivity are paramount, and along with that you'll find a Gridle of Venus, then that person might even become a hysteric. That is the only reason why old palmists have even given the name of line of hysteria to the Gridle of Venus. And if the person is sensual, and with the presence of this line and the other signs on the palm are also indicating towards sensuality, then the person could become too much indulgent into the physical desires, in the pursuit of the physical desires. That is the only reason why old palmists also called this line as the line of libido. So line of hysteria and line of the libido are some of the lines, some of the labels and the titles which have been assigned to this line. You have to, in my personal experience, and I know I've seen so many times this line in the hands of all those people who remain very sensitive. One of my friend, I recently, kind of he met me and he was going through some kind of crisis. He came to consult me. The very first thing which I looked at his hand was the Gridle of Venus was very prominent. Though, you see, we were friends for a past long time, but I never got a chance to even look at his hand, neither did he showed it to me. But when he got to know that, he was, first of all, he was surprised that I also know so much of the occult knowledge. And when he came to me and he showed this line to me, and just when he started telling about his problems, that he had the problem with the drug abuse, and we know recently he got married, and he was so sensitive and going through so much of the problems that he told me that he used to get so nervous in the situations that whenever the situation comes, when he has to face people, a group of people, he used to start trembling. And the Gridle of Venus was very prominent in his hand. So coming to the part of discussion on this line about the sensitivity, the first very sign to look at the hand to spot the signs of sensitivity, which I have also made a video on that, how to see the sensitivity, nervousness and timidness in someone's personality. The first sign to look at is if you have found the hand to be with the presence of too many crisscrossing lines. You have to understand, in palmistry, too many crisscrossing lines means too much of the heightened activity of the brain. These lines are nothing, just the impressions, which have been created by our mind. So, might be a case that in someone's hand, let's say for example, in your hand there are too many of the presence of the crisscrossing lines, and there is one friend of yours who has who has two clearly marked major lines and doesn't have too many crisscrossing lines. You both have gone to a coffee shop. While parking the car, you got into argument with the parking person. Then you sat in the restaurant, you were having a tea, you got into argument with the waiter. So what will happen happen is that when you will reach home, the person with too many crisscrossing lines will still struck to all those situations. What has what has happened? Will this cause any repercussion? Will this cause some consequence? Will they follow me? Will this happen? Will that happen? And the other person might not even have noticed it. So the problem with these people is that they remain to be very sensitive towards the the external stimulants, and that is the only reason the Gridle of Venus, people with the Gridle of Venus remain very much sensitive and vulnerable towards the artificial emotional stimulants, whether in the form of drugs, alcohol or any other thing. So I was telling about the sensitive signs, that too many crisscrossing lines tells about that only, that the person is hypersensitive. There is a little bit of inclination and vulnerability of the depressiveness, and what is going to happen is that, see, just because of their sensitivity and the emotions are so heightened, they kind of remain empathetic towards the pain of the others. But many times situation arises when when these people have kind of the unintentional remark of others people, they take as the offense, and they take it as like those remarks are even targeted towards them, and they get offended. So these are some of the problems with these people face with too many crisscrossing lines present on the palm, which is an ideal archetype case of the sensitivity inherent in someone's personality. And over and above that, if along with the presence of too many crisscrossing cobweb of the lines marked on the palm, and you have spotted the Gridle of Venus on the palm, then this is just going to heighten the kind of sensitivity, store nervous energy in someone's personality. So this is the first way, one way to look at it, the sensitivity and in conjunction with the Gridle of Venus. Next way and next mode of looking at is when you'll find the signs of sensuality. So what all are the signs of the sensuality? The signs of the sensuality are, let's say for example, in the hand you have spotted a very deep and clear red marked line of Mars. The mount of inner Mars and the mount of Venus are very red in color, very protruded, very swollen, with the presence of grill or X bar, cross bar, or too many negative signs. So this will just indicate that the sensuality is heightened in someone's personality. Even the heart line is ending under the middle finger at the bottom, at the thumb region. So this is just going to indicate the sensuality is heightened in someone's personality. And along with that, let's say for example you have spotted this Girdle of Venus, then there remain to be heightened chances that the person will take refuge in the physical desire in order to release his stored nervous energies. So this is how analysis is done. We never look at one sign and come to conclusion. We look at things comprehensively. You guys are the Sherlock Holmes of the palmistry. So this was just the introductory video on the Gridle of Venus. In the subsequent coming videos, we are going to discuss all other aspect and vertical of the Gridle of Venus. This line is very important, very important. So for further more updates and notification on palmistry, please subscribe my channel and like my Facebook page. Thanks.